Welcome to Fortuna's Events podcast series, where we engage in dynamic conversations with the pioneers, experts, and change makers driving progress across industries. In each episode, we explore how cutting-edge innovations, strategic approaches, and emerging trends are reshaping the future of businesses. Our goal is to offer fresh insights into the evolving challenges and opportunities that professionals face today. I'm your host Shweta, Senior Content Executive at Fortuna's Events. Okay, Pradeep, let's talk about Visual 360. Visual 360 seems to be revolutionizing on how we think customer experience is, especially now with AI at its core. Can you share the vision behind Visual 360 and what motivated you to establish this company?
Okay, so it's like a combination of years of experience. So I was into human resources for almost 16, 17 years of my life, developing people, trying to understand what motivates them, what the triggers, and so on and so forth. And it was during one of my travels that I kind of got this idea. Can we kind of translate that into creating a much better customer experience when it comes to creating a world-class gold standard? And I've traveled across my life, multiple countries, different continents, and I've found that the experience is something which kind of differentiates whether a customer is going to buy a particular product or not. And it changes. Like to Dubai, to Paris, to Amsterdam, to Stockholm, to Korea, to New York, it changes. It absolutely changes. Same product, it will change. Like for me, I usually go to Starbucks in every city I travel to, and I find that the experience changes. The coffee remains largely the same, but entire experience changes. It's good. So what is that that they're doing so differently, which is kind of building that customer experience of people to kind of come in again and again and have the same coffee over there. And then it was during my trip to Dubai Mall in Dubai is where the entire startup idea came to me. Now, Dubai Mall is huge. Like this year itself, in the first 6 months, they have close to around 67 million visitors over there. That's a huge amount of people coming in. And I was sitting in one of the coffee shops over there, looking at everyone, observing everyone, what they're doing, what is the trigger points are. And I realized that the amount of data that can be captured to make this entire visit for them and what do you say, a life memory kind of and stuff is out there. And that's the opportunity that, any retailer and any malls can actually kind of leverage on that. I walk into a store, it becomes a life changing experience for me. The way the store staff interacts with me, what kind of product I'm seeing, how knowledgeable they are. I may not buy the product, but it may happen that the entire experience is so good that I go and talk to 10 more people saying that, hey, I've been to this particular store and this is what I have found over there. And I found that to be really wanting in a lot of places where I visited across cities, across continents. And I realized, let's put that into perspective and start building. For someone like me, let's say I went to a shop in one of the cities in Europe, and I want a particular product, and they are pushing a particular product, or saying, "Why don't you take this?" Because they have this data which tells them someone like Pradeep would enter into a store, and this is what their preferences are to buy. Now, being a global traveler, my entire buying preferences has changed. If they try to sell me a product which is liked by a lot of people from India, it may not be that effective. And especially after the advent of internet coming in over here, people getting information, knowledge with them, the lines are getting blurred. This is very, very fuzzy. Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they would just Google on the mobile phone trying to understand, oh, are you telling the right thing? Like what's out there? So they got information on the fingertips. And if you're trying to sell a particular product looking at obsolete data, the entire moment of truth for that particular customer is gone, and people buy from people. That's something which is important. How good the store staff is, how they are able to engage the conversation, they're able to pick up subtle hints that I'm dropping about if I'm liking the product, not liking the product. That eventually will define the way I would want to buy a particular product, and that also defines how many items I put on my shopping cart. And that's usually what happens. Like the research has proven that if the experience is pretty great for a customer, they end up buying product 87 times more than what they actually want to buy. So it's all about that. And there's a massive shift in consumer landscape since then, and what has been happening in the past. And companies can't rely on yesterday's customers insight. They need to kind of get something which is real time. And we thought, can we do something about it? Can I visualize data and give to them in a 360 degree perspective. Okay, this is not just a particular product, but even the experience part of it together, and then that comes as a dashboard, which kind of helps organizations to have more database decisions on the go rather than waiting for a couple of months to come up with a new campaign altogether. And that's the name Visual 360 actually came the picture. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking about shift and personalization, how do you remain authentic and not intrusive?
So this is something which has been taking center stage the last couple of months. Even more, it has been there into picture for quite some time, but in the last, I would say, 5 months, it has become even more critical. Now, balancing personalization and authenticity and respecting privacy is a critical challenge. As a fine balance that every organization, or even a provider like us has to kind of maintain and still kind of give that world-class AI-driven customer experience. For us, is not an afterthought. It was a part of an entire journey of building the product itself, starting from our systems, our processes, the way that we design, the way that we code our product. It's all ingrained into that particular ecosystem altogether. For us, personalization, and still we are able to personalize products at the same time, still make it very commonized. Yeah, so it's personalized yet commonized so that people can get data which is not on individual but on a set of people, so that kind of gives them enough and more powerful data to kind of start creating strategies on that. So that requires something which is in transparent AI, at the same time ethical data usage. That's very, very important. And one of the classical things, that one of the products that we have which kind of talks about subtle personalization, is how can you make digital signages more smarter, more intelligent. Okay, and this is a product that you may like and you would want to kind of explore that kind of thing. And how can you offer personalization in store as well as product suggestions? So use that to kind of start building those product suggestions, cross-selling, upselling, and stuff like that. So these are over a period of time that you can kind of use. And all this data given on a dashboard or given on a pad to and staff creates that entire experience better. Because if you walk into a store and the store staff, instead of hovering around you, knows exactly when is you going to buy a product, that tipping point, he or she walks in and starts giving you more information. Hey, this particular product has its features. This is what can help you. At the same time, also understand what's actually happening on a social scale, and what influencers are talking about, and that data is pretty powerful to kind of create that world-class social customer experience and just individualized customer experience on that particular part. Once you get that, maybe we build that emotional intelligence along with that. So one of the things that we have built into our product ecosystem is to ensure that our we kind of capture that data on sentiments and how people are exhibiting those on the shop floor. So we're ensuring that it's still non-intrusive. It is at an aggregate level, so people know, at what time of the day, what kind of people are they feeling happy, mad, sad, glad, and so on and so forth, and use that to kind of create a better experience on that. Looking at, so there are three parts of it. If you have to be authentic and not intrusive, you have to ensure that your product does not give out information which is intrusive, but it gives out information which kind of builds that social ecosystem for people to actually have a great buying experience. So that's how we have kind of built a product ecosystem to kind of throw out that data so that organizations can look at it in real time and start building that across on.
So, how do you see AI balancing the need for human empathy? Because it's all about data. Okay, it's data. So, where do we draw the line?
Something that we have to really understand is, and maybe accept, is that AI is going to augment human behavior. It's not going to replace human behavior, human interaction, or customer interactions. So there are potential usages of AI. There are areas where human empathy becomes crucial. At the same time, there are areas where there are shortcomings in AI. AI cannot do those kind of things altogether. We feel that trying to create that pull factor is where AI will start building up a lot of traction on that, ensuring that you have smart displays, kiosks, which talks about information, talking about inventory management, AI-powered inventory management, what kind of product is going, what time, instantaneously it goes to the inventory, the backend, and they're able to ship those inventory back, trying to understand which product is moving faster, which product is not moving as fast as what's supposed to be, how are we targeting basis, or how do we recommend basis customer data and in-store behavior. And yes, On top of it, voice assistance for basic customer support. So these areas are where it can do a lot. It kind of takes care of mundane stuff which humans can actually give it to a machine to kind of do. Areas where human empathy becomes extremely critical, especially in in-store experience, is how do I gauge or manage those complex situations between human to human? How can I ensure that my dealing with a human is more from emotional context rather than transactional context? And that's something that we have to really think about. The way
Yes.
we have to build a customer experience on emotions, not on a product that I'm selling. The more emotionally connected I am to a particular product or a brand, the more I'm going to buy on that. How do I build genuine relationships? Look, I go to a store where I know this person literally knows my buying patterns. He would know that this is what kind of suits he'll wear, this is what kind of shoes he'll wear, this is what accessories he like to have. And then he starts cross-selling and upselling. So I end up buying more because I absolutely love that store, and how knowledgeable their people are. That is because they have built that relationship with me over a period of time. They understand, they have we have more deeper conversation, we have more meaningful connections with them over a period of time, and they also understand what context I'm building right now. So context is very, very critical. AI cannot understand an emotional context or sentiment context about a human to human interaction. It can give data, but how it connects to a human, I don't think we are there yet. We may be in the future, but not right now. And what kind of customers special needs are there? That is something which a human can augment it beautifully well rather than AI. I, and I think the areas where AI would be shortcoming is to really understand, as I said, building that emotional bond with customers on that. I'm trying to read non-verbal clues about customer. And if you walk into a store, if you're a smart customer assistant over there, he knows what you're going to buy. He will just take a step back, watch where you're going, which aisle you're spending more time, which product you're picking up, which product you're keeping back, which product you're putting on the cart, and then he will subtly walk in and say, hey, I see that can I help you buying a particular product? And that's how relationships are built. That's how customer journeys are understood better than what is. And that is where I think AI will eventually lack on that. Improvising, can I quickly improvise on the go? Humans can think on their feet and say, I have this conversation which is not going the way that I really would want this particular individual to buy a particular product. Humans can quickly improvise and
Yes.
give out a different recommendation altogether. AI may not be able to kind of do right now. So those are the stuff which is which can actually build the entire areas where AI can actually do and cannot do. I think the key is to use AI to enhance rather than replace human touch in the retail. Okay? Recognizing that in-person shopping experience often hinges on human connections and empathy that currently AI cannot fully replicate. It can replicate to some extent, but cannot fully replicate.
Pradeep, let's go to the fun question. Speaking of AI, if you could have one AI superpower to improve CX, what would it be and why? If I had the AI power to improve CX, I would look at real-time hyper personalization. I walk into a store, it recognizes me, is able to provide me personalized input, personalized recommendations as I'm walking on the aisle. That is something I would love to kind of do, and still not be intrusive. It does not recognize Pradeep as Pradeep, but it recognizes Pradeep as an individual. Walk into a store, and this is what, and basis the past data that is already trained on, it starts throwing out recommendations to me, saying this is how it is, and becomes more contextualized, personalized with every step that I take in the store itself. And eventually, helps me understand a particular product better than what I have been understanding it till now. Gives me more information than what it is. So that will be one superpower I would, love to kind of get. And then maybe, over a period of time, have an AI which is more centennial than what is right now. I know I'm saying this word which is extremely
Yes.
controversial,
Controversial, yeah.
very controversial, but then I think we also have to understand that AI is coded by humans. And lot many times our biases come into the picture. Our biases, our life experiences are coded into that code which makes an AI. I always tell my team, keep your biases aside, keep your life experience aside, try to build something which is meant for greater good, which is meant for creating a world. And when we start coding, we actually brainstorm, we analyze it from every angle perspective, all 360 degrees, all X and Y axis and Z axis, to really understand what we're putting out there is close to what a human being would want to kind of experience, rather than being intrusive, being repelling. Can it help me understand things better than what I'm doing till now? So that would be great to kind of actually have. Yeah,
That we are still a long way from there. It sounds scary.
it's scary. At the same time, it's exciting. Something which is exciting is always scary, and vice
Agree.
versa. So again, it depends upon how we are building our code. Is very, very important. Use that and then learn from not so good AI, because you know that there are behaviors that you don't want an AI to kind of be throwing out, but at the same time build on it so that it becomes a better AI than what it is. So it helps, it becomes like a companion to a human being rather than replacing things altogether.
It's a sub question, by the way. Earlier on, you mentioned with hyper personalization, real time hyper personalization, there will not be a need for marketing. A marketing 6 month along the road campaign, we would not need that because we have real time hyper personalization. Will this affect the industry?
No,
Okay,
it would not. It would not. It would not. Because as I said, the data that gets churned out of that data will be then leveraged by industry to create better products, enhance existing products, enhance the way that we are marketing, enhance the way that we're interacting with customers, and help them see a product from both the perspective, from a customer perspective as well as from product development perspective. So it's not going to be, and most of the time when we talk about data, they get data which is very small, minuscule data, which is for their own products. Largely they get data which is a mashup of different products and stuff. So they spend a lot of time in cleaning the data, ensuring that data quality is unique and accurate for their products, and then start building those campaigns and marketing strategies on that. And that's the reason why it takes so much of time to kind of create that campaigns. But now when you have data which is yours unique for a particular region, a store, customer, a particular product, you have pure data in your hand. You got distilled data in your hand, and with that data you can create a lot more magic than what you're doing right now. So you accelerate the entire business. What takes 6 months time takes you a week.
with all of this, what about the uh, ethical considerations? Is there any safeguards do you put in place to ensure that AI is used responsibly?
Oh yes, and we have to understand that governments across the world, bodies across the globe, they're creating frameworks for us to use AI in more ethical way than what we're doing right now. And it is rightly so, because it's important that we use AI the right way. AI now getting used for multiple different things which are not supposed to. You can superimpose someone's face on someone else's body and then try to kind of do. No, that is an highly unethical way of using AI. And you have to ensure that customers have an option to opt out of what kind of AI that we're using. First of all, organizations should be transparent. They should be telling people, this is what we are using AI for, and this is how we're going to use the data for, and this is how I'm going to protect your data. Your privacy, your data is in your hands, and you can always opt out of that. The more transparent you are, at the same time, you also have to ask for consent. And these two becomes, and it's not just one store, it's the way the entire organization thinks. Your providers, your consumers, your users, your early adopters, all of them would need to understand that this is the entire ecosystem which has to come together. It cannot be run by one individual, one company. Everything has to kind of, fit in place to kind of, and obviously use that for ensuring that, and use it for fairness and non-discrimination. So all this stuff has to kind of be in place. Otherwise, if you have one of these things which is not in place, it is not going to be effective. It is not going to be effective. You have to have data protection, you have to have transparency and consent, you have to have fairness and non-discrimination, you have to have ethical reviews all the time. You have to create systems, processes in the organization which kind of does that review. And if one of these are missing, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Like a puzzle piece.
It's like a puzzle
Everything
piece. Yes. Imagine you are trying to put a Mona Lisa picture on a puzzle, and suddenly you don't have the Mona Lisa smile. Okay, so it looks absolutely bad. The entire experience is bad. So everything has to be in place in such a way that people understand, they recognize the need of, why privacy is important over there. And it should be privacy by design approach rather than just an afterthought kind of stuff. Ensure that your customer understand what they're interacting with. You do not perpetuate existing biases in the system. You ensure that recommendation engines are not biased. You train your algorithms on large data sets, diverse data sets, so that it does not get biased altogether. You have people on board on your team which questions you day in, day out on using the right usage of AI. Then there are sometimes there are founders who becomes extremely hoodwinked, say that this is what I've been building on, this is what I want to do. You need to have people who show you the right compass, they show you the true north, saying that this is what we should be doing and ensuring that. And you also cross educate people, you stay informed, you ensure you know what is actually happening out there in the world, what governments, what regulations are coming up. Uh, Earlier we had the GDPR, now that we have the EU AI Act, and so on and so forth. So these are helping us to not only ensure that AI remains ethical, but also push founders like us to make products which are ethical. They push innovation. That you're going to approach a problem this particular way. And all these regulations will ensure that we innovate in much better way than what we're doing right now. Rather than following the rule of the book innovation methods, we have to think very differently because your customers are evolving. In the next 10 years, research says that the people between 13 to 25 will be the largest consumer base. They have information on their fingertips. And the next set of customers would be someone who are, in the retirement age, people who are above 60s, 70s, and I just want to sit back and relax. I have the money, I want to spend now kind of stuff. And for both these sets of people, data privacy is extremely critical, and they look at these two things very differently. The younger generation are okay giving out consent till the time they get a great experience, and they also know that they also are conscious of the fact that you're using their data in a much ethical way. Folks who are the boomers, they are skeptical about using data and how they're kind of doing that. So for someone who is into marketing, a brand guy, it becomes very difficult to how do I balance these two out? Okay. So, and all the data, all the ethics, everything, eventually boils down to ensuring that you have ethics in the right place, and you build system processes, codes in such a way that, it is used for more ethical ways than what it is. So it's ethics by design, not an afterthought, not something which is,
Last question. It's a personal one. As someone who's recognized as one of the 50 most innovative HR tech leaders, how do you balance innovation with practicality in your projects? Was there a time where you had to choose between an innovative idea and a traditional approach?
Oh, there has always been times like that, always. And that battle is, I think, you talk to any founder, any leader, they'll always have this battle on their mind, saying that can I use a more innovative approach, or look at a more traditional way of approach in doing business. For us, there's not been times where when you're building up a product, we are forced to kind of go the traditional way, because sometimes it tried tested is more ethical. It does not break any rules, and it helps you build a product which is better than what you have already built or what's already out in the market. At the same time, we have used innovation to build on that, use traditional methods, innovate on traditional methods to make a better product. So it goes hand in hand. Innovation will push you to think differently than what you are doing, and it'll actually ensure that your traditional methods are far better than what you do. Or maybe you build on those traditional methods, you evolve those traditional methods so that it becomes more evolutionary rather than just, build and die. No, you build and you build and you build and you build. You keep on building on that same traditional approach till the time it becomes innovative approach over a period of time. Years back, we talked about omni-channel, creating the same experience across,
Yes.
store, mobile phones, web, everything. So we were stuck on, oh, let's look at brick and mortars and stuff. Then comes your millennials is, no, I'm not entering into stores at all. I'll go online and buy products because I get better offers over there. Now organizations are forced to think, what do I do? How do I balance it out? Can I have the same offers what I'm having on web within the store itself? So for customers, they have a unified view of the store, and it is seamless across all platforms altogether. Started from traditional, become to very innovative. How do we use data over there to kind of build on what kind of consumer are there? How do I build on my loyalty programs? How do I build my customer rewards programs so that my loyal customers comes back to me again and again? They recommend us to different to their friends, to different customers, so that both your NPS score goes up, they come back and buy more kind of stuff. That has been there for us as an organization, as a startup. The products that we have built, there have been times where we have built a product to almost 70%, and we said, no, we're not going that way. We're not going that way. We have chunked it because that was not the right way of building a product. And that's, we chose a traditional approach because we realized that it would hinge on building a trust and not breaking rules there. So we have done that, and we have done with 2 products. It's not just one. We've done it with 2 products. There has been times we have done everything and he said, no, this is not working. This is not working. Let's shelve it. There has been times where we have made some
traditional approach or innovative approach.
That was traditional approach.
Traditional. Okay.
That's
so the
approach.
Traditional one wasn't working.
Yes, traditional was not working. So we said, okay, let's not kind of do that. We have built on different. Then we started from the scratch, put on a very different thinking hat. And okay, if you're approaching a problem in a very linear way, can we approach a problem in 360-degree ways and see we can still solve the same problem in a different way without creating challenges? We have done that, and that's what our products right now talk about it. We get customer data, but then we don't store customer data. We do not say that this particular data belongs to Shweta, or this particular data belongs to Pradeep, or to Alex or someone else, kind of stuff. We don't do that, and that is very difficult for the technology that we are using right now. So we had to literally go back to the drawing board, saying that this is not the way it should be. So use a very different way of seeing things. Use a very opening up a different perspective, and then approaching a problem and then doing it. Something that our team does is that we do not jump into coding right away. We take a step back, we brainstorm. There has been times where teams have said, no, hold on, let's not code right now, let's not jump into it. It's like when it's something, you just pick up the things and you pick up things and you just kind of, even though
in the flow.
You go in the flow. You have notes, you have mental notes, but then you have to figure out, which one. It's like, again, it's like conditionalized training, right? Like you have mental notes, but then which one do you pick up and then say it out? That's something which just becomes important. Yeah.
You just pluck and slot.
Yes, yeah. But then you should be knowing which one are you plucking and slotting. That's also critical because, it's something which I use this example which I heard from one of my leaders early in my career. Was that, if you want to have the best car in the world, you take out the best product or best feature of every car and try to put it together into one. Would you get the best car? No, you not get the best car. Okay. So you have to somewhere, balance it out to ensure that, what features do I tone down and what features do I tone up so that I get the best car out there, which is still not there yet. Still not there because everyone has one individualized
idea,
personalized way of driving. Okay. So that becomes critical. So that is where everything kind of boils down to. So it's all about what can you tone down, what can you tone up, and then build the entire stuff.
If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and stay tuned for more exciting episodes featuring industry leaders from around the globe. Until next time, stay curious and keep innovating.